We have chosen to analyze the mass shooting at Mandalay Bay Resort. This presentation is by Sophie Derosa, Shaquerria Campbell, and Brittany Funderburk. The video clip you just saw is for the Mandalay Bay Hotel, part of the MGM Resorts International Hotel Group. Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino is a luxury hotel in Las Vegas, being one of the 30 MGM Resort hotels. Mandalay Bay is popular for its casino, nightlife, and entertainment. Mandalay Bay, as an MGM Resorts hotel, strives to remind guests that entertainment is not extracurricular. They believe that entertainment is a fundamental human need, meaning that the company exists to serve humans from all over the planet. They strive to accomplish this goal through the 4 core beliefs: developing and creating extraordinary experiences, providing consistent and outstanding guest service, building and sustaining the communities in which we work and live, and being respectful, inclusive, and responsible in all we do. And their approach to creating their quality entertainment is built on these 3 core tenets: experience, ensuring the perfect place and scale, and building a sense of community. Over 2 years ago, Mandalay Bay was the location of a national tragedy. On October 1st, 2017, a 64-year-old man living in Nevada fired more than 1,100 rounds of ammunition into a crowd of 22,000 people, killing 58 individuals and injuring more than 800. The attack only lasted a short 10 minutes, but for the victims, it seemed like hours. He fired these rounds from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel in his suite, where he had an array of 23 guns, 12 of which were upgraded to bump stocks. Bump stocks are used to essentially turn semi-automatic guns into fully automatic guns. Surveillance video later showed Stephen Paddock checking into this hotel several days before the shooting and bringing in a total of 21 suitcases, divided into several different trips. An open door alert is what triggered the hotel security staff and notified them of the activity on the 32nd floor. Authorities arrived at Paddock's suite around 10 p.m. and didn't enter the room until around 11:20 p.m., fearing the use of bombs or other deadly weapons. They found Paddock dead by suicide with a gunshot wound to the head and concluded that there was no connection to any terrorist groups and that he had no accomplices. This event, of course, sparked a debate in the concern for gun control. Once more, President Trump eventually banned the use of bump stocks as a gun modifier nearly 4 months after this attack. As for the organizational factors that may have contributed to the occurrence of this critical event, control seems to be the most relevant. Mandalay Bay Resort in Las Vegas was known as a family-friendly hotel with luxurious amenities replicating a tropical paradise. The resort has 3,300 rooms, 24 elevators, as well as 135,000 square feet of casino. Furthermore, it has a massive convention center plus 12,000 seats event center. All of this being said, having intense control over the visitors' and guests' safety should be a priority of Mandalay Bay as a tourism and recreational organization. More specifically, around a time where there will be an overwhelming abundance of people in that general area, they should be extra cautious. I believe if the Mandalay Bay Resort's security team was more diligent and attentive to their security footage, they would have seen the suspicious activity of one single man bringing in 21 suitcases. This is an unusual sight. Casinos everywhere have been perfecting their security against such events and claim to be watching 24/7, so how did they miss this man? Did they see him and not view him as a threat? The resort did not have proper control over this situation for a possible number of reasons. Mo Aziz, an attorney for a victim of the Vegas shooting, stated, "It will be very important to look at the training for the security guards in the hotel who were there in the 5 days before when Paddock was suspiciously wondering about the hotel." Investigators later found that Paddock was seen a total number of 200 instances, always alone, bringing in suitcases or wandering, potentially scoping out the area for his attack. Chuck Bowling was the current Mandalay Bay president and COO at the time of the attack. As the president of Mandalay Bay Resorts, Chuck Bowling was the one mainly dealing with the legal issues and the reaction to this event. Mandalay Bay Resort took to Twitter after the attack with a response stating, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims of last night's tragic events. We're grateful for the immediate actions of our first responders." However, in the coming months, victims were shocked to hear the MGM Resorts International, the owner of Mandalay Bay Resorts, decided to sue 1,000 victims in an effort to avoid liability. Victims were quick to sue for damages they believed to be caused by Mandalay Bay Resort's failure to provide adequate security and for allowing Stephen Paddock to bring thousands of rounds of ammunition and high-powered rifles. MGM claims that they should be immunized from liability because it met two conditions under a law that Congress passed in 2002. One, a security company was hired for the concert and had certification from the Department of Homeland Security, and two, the shooting qualified as an act of terrorism. Victims reacted to these lawsuits with pure outrage, saying this was an attempt to protect the company no matter the facts, damages, and deaths. A lawyer named Craig Island, who represents hundreds of the victims, stated, "It's all about immunizing themselves from liability and staying out of state courts." As for Route 91 Harvest Festival, the organization who put on the concert, they responded by creating Route 91 Strong, which is a non-profit benefit corporation that is dedicated to providing financial assistance for the hardships, resources for recovery, and awareness to the nation about the trauma these survivors endured. There is a page where people are able to donate, read testimonials, upcoming fundraiser events, merchandise, along with information of the attack. The resort received a lot of backlash because of the response in suing the victims of this tragic event, which of course deterred many visitors from choosing Mandalay over any other resort in Las Vegas. Employees stated that because of the financial impact this event is having on the resort, it is hard for them to find their footing. Cancellations for conventions have doubled, gamblers on the casino floor seem to thin out, and many employees have left. While it is true that this event could have taken place anywhere and any time, it is no secret that this specific resort will always be known as the place where a deranged man took 58 people's innocent lives. In the years to come, the dust will settle, and many believe Mandalay may one day rebuild its reputation. As I just mentioned, people were outraged by the organization's decision to sue those victims who had intent of suing them for damages just to avoid liability and save themselves money in the long run. I would argue that they did not respond appropriately because although you cannot investigate every guest at a single hotel, if you have a security team who is supposed to be monitoring and investigating those who seem like they could potentially pose a threat to other guests, then an organization should be upholding those standards. They didn't miss an opportunity, but better control over their organization would have definitely helped minimize the effect. If they were more attentive, they may have investigated Stephen Paddock before the event happened, which would have prevented the mass shooting as a whole. Or if they were keeping a close eye on him, they would have had information or immediate whereabouts of Stephen Paddock or other possible suspects on hand when the shots were first fired, possibly reducing the number of fatalities and injuries. As we said, the tragedy that occurred on October 1st, 2017 could have occurred anywhere, but there were precautions that could have been taken to avoid this shooting. Enforced protocols should be set in place to avoid this type of catastrophe in the future. The first would be to implement better security training, specifically paying closer attention to detail, especially on certain dates when there will be large masses and big crowds of people in the surrounding area. Another idea could be to create contingency plans and disaster plans in preparation for large events. This would be a smart idea because these plans would be in place to prepare for an unexpected, unsafe scenario. They would cover crowd control, suspect identification, and emergency responsiveness. Our third idea, although it may be costly, is effective. We propose that they implement security machines to screen guests prior to a large event because it would ensure a safe environment. Having metal detectors at large hotels that cater to mass audiences and host large events would be effective in preventing any unsafe weapons by guests. These protocols would definitely help ensure safety in the future for Mandalay Bay Resort. After analyzing the response and reaction to this critical event, we believe that they did not respond appropriately, but in the future, Mandalay Bay has the opportunity to rebuild its reputation.